Hi everyone. Today, let's talk about monopolies of the world. Starting off with what a monopoly is. A monopoly is one of the most fascinating and controversial features of an economy. At its core, a monopoly is a market structure where a single firm is the only seller of a product or service that has no close substitutes. Because of this, the monopolist gains significant power over pricing, production, and even innovation. Unlike in competitive markets, where multiple firms fight for consumer attention and keep prices low, a monopoly can dictate terms. The key to understanding monopolies lies in barriers to entry. These are obstacles that prevent new companies from entering the market. They might be natural, like the massive cost of building power plants or networks, legal, such as patents and copyrights, or social, such as network effects, where a service becomes more valuable as more people use it. While monopolies sometimes emerge naturally, they are often criticized because they can result in higher prices, reduced choices, and slower innovation. But monopolies are not just relics of history, they are still shaping our economies and daily lives today.
Now, why do monopolies exist? Monopolies exist mainly because of barriers to entry. These are the factors that make it hard or even impossible for competitors to enter the market. One reason is economies of scale. This happens when a single company can produce goods or services more cheaply than multiple smaller firms. For example, a water utility system is far more efficient if one company builds and maintains the pipes rather than having several firms duplicate the same infrastructure. This leads to what's called a natural monopoly. Another reason is exclusive control of resources. If a company owns a rare or vital input, no one else can compete. Historically, this meant control over coal mines, oil fields, or steel production. Monopolies also exist because of government actions. Patents and copyrights are designed to reward innovation by giving inventors exclusive rights for a limited time. While they encourage creativity, they also create temporary monopolies. Finally, there's the network effect. This is especially common in the digital age. A platform like a social media site or search engine becomes more valuable the more people use it. Once a critical mass of users is reached, competitors struggle to attract enough users to even be viable.
Moving on to the kinds of monopolies and their examples. Monopolies come in several forms, and each has different causes and effects. Let's look at three important types: historical, modern, and natural monopoly. One of the famous monopolies that lie under historical monopoly was Standard Oil, built by John D. Rockefeller in the late 19th century. At its height, Standard Oil controlled about 90% of U.S. oil refining and distribution market. It achieved this dominance by buying competitors, negotiating secret deals with railroads for cheaper shipping, and driving out smaller players. Standard Oil could then dictate prices and limit competition. In today's digital economy, monopolies look different. They are now considered modern monopoly. Instead of controlling physical resources, they often control information and platforms. Google Search is a prime example. With its overwhelming market share, Google has become the default search engine worldwide. Its dominance is fueled by network effects. As more people use it, the system collects more data, which improves its algorithms, making it even harder for competitors to catch up. Finally, there are natural monopolies, where the structure of the industry makes competition impractical. An electric company, for instance, has to build and maintain a massive grid of power lines. It would be wasteful and inefficient to have multiple companies duplicating the same network. For this reason, governments often allow a single company to operate but regulate its prices and services to protect consumers. These examples highlight that monopolies may form from aggressive business tactics, technological dominance, or natural efficiency, but the outcome is the same. One firm controls the market.
Next, we have the monopolies of the past versus the modern era. Looking back, monopolies of the past were built largely through industrial consolidation. Powerful figures like Rockefeller in oil, Andrew Carnegie in steel, or railroad magnates in the late 1800s used strategies such as mergers, takeovers, and preferential deals to dominate industries. These practices eventually sparked public outrage, which led to antitrust laws like the Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890 in the United States. Today, monopolies are less about steel, oil, or railroads and more about technology and data. Instead of controlling a scarce resource like coal or oil, modern monopolies often control access to information or digital networks. Companies such as major search engines, e-commerce giants, or social media platforms thrive on network effects and user data, creating a winner-take-all system where one platform dominates the entire market. Despite the difference in industries, the similarities remain clear. Both old and modern monopolies raise concerns about consumer choice, fair pricing, and innovation. But there's also a key difference. Past monopolies were fought with traditional antitrust laws focused on breaking companies apart, while today's debates focus more on regulation, data privacy, and digital market fairness.
Now, what countries are involved in monopolies and what are their ties? Monopolies are not limited to one region. They exist worldwide, often shaped by government policy and economic strategy. In the United States, Standard Oil remains the classic case, broken up in 1911. But modern debates now revolve around tech giants like Google, Amazon, and Meta. On the other hand, Russia, Gazprom, a state-owned energy giant, controls natural gas production and exports. Its monopoly allows Russia to wield significant political and economic influence, especially in Europe. In Australia, the Australia Post holds a legal monopoly over regular mail delivery, ensuring universal service but eliminating competition in that sector. And in China, the State Grid Corporation of China dominates electricity transmission, maintaining full government control over the sector to ensure national stability. And lastly, the Philippines for decades had PLDT dominating telecommunications, limiting competition and keeping prices high. But the entry of Globe Telecom and later D2 helped break this monopoly, improving services for consumers.
These examples show that monopolies are shaped not just by business practices, but also by government decisions and national interests. Monopolies are not just historical curiosities. By understanding their history, types, and global presence, we can better navigate the balance between efficiency, innovation, and fairness in the market. Thank you for watching.